Welcome back, faith builders. We continue a journey through the first book of Adam and Eve, exploring chapters 61 to 70. These chapters are filled with profound lessons on resilience, faith, and the human spirit's strength. Let's dive in. Our story resumes in chapter 61. Then Satan took Adam and Eve by hand and led them out of the cave. And after a little way out, Elohim knew Satan had overcome them and brought them out to destroy them. Then the word of Elohim came and caused Satan and drive him away. Elohim began to speak to Adam and Eve, saying, "What made thee come out of the cave?" Then Adam said unto Elohim, "Didst thou create a man before us? For when we were in the cave, suddenly came to us a good old man." And Adam explained everything to Elohim. Then Elohim said to him, "See, that is the father of all evil arts, who brought thee out of the garden, and now seeing that they joined together in fasting and praying, and that you came not out of the cave, before the end of 40 days, he wishes to make your purpose vain, break the bond, cut all hope from you, and to destroy thee. Unable to do that unless he showed himself in your likeness, he did with a face like your own, but in my mercy drove him away from you. Now Adam, take Eve and return to the cave until tomorrow, on the 40th day. And when ye come out, go towards the eastern gate of the garden." Adam and Eve worshipped Elohim, praised and blessed him for the deliverance that had come to them, and returned to the cave. Adam said to Eve, "Arise, let us go towards the eastern gate, as Elohim had told us." They said their prayers as usual, and went out of the cave. They prayed for Elohim to strengthen them and send something to satisfy their hunger. Then the word of Elohim said to Adam, "Arise, go and bring hither 2 figs." Then they arose and went until they drew near the cave. Chapter 62. Satan was envious because of the consolation Elohim had given them. So he prevented them and went into the cave, took the 2 figs, buried them outside the cave, so that Adam and Eve should not find them, and thought to destroy them. But by Elohim's, as soon as Satan buried those 2 figs, Elohim defeated Satan's counsel regarding them, and made them into 2 fruit trees that overshadowed the cave, for Satan had buried them in the eastern side of it. The 2 fig trees were grown and covered with fruits. Satan grieved and mourned, and said, "Better were it to have left those figs in the cave. Now behold, they have become to fig trees. Wherefore Adam will eat all the days of his life, whereas I had in mind, when I buried them, to destroy them entirely, and to hide them. But Elohim had overturned my counsel, and not allowed the fruits to perish, made plain my intention, and defeated the counsel I had formed against his servant. Then Satan went away ashamed of not having wronged out his design." Chapter 63. Adam and Eve drew near the cave and saw 2 fig trees, covered with fruit, and overshadowing the cave. Adam said to Eve, "Seems we have missed our way. When did these 2 trees grow here?" Blaming it on the enemy, but decided to go inside the cave to find the figs, but couldn't find them. Then Adam stood up and prayed to Elohim to explain what happened, and revealed the secrets of these 2 fig trees and of the 2 figs. Then the word of Elohim came to Adam, and explained all Satan had planned to do, and by his mercy commanded the figs to grow. And Elohim said henceforth, "O Adam, rejoice on account of the trees, thou and Eve, and rest under them when ye feel weary, but eat not of their fruit, nor come near them." Then Adam wept, saying, "O Elohim, wilt thou again kill us, driving us away before thy face, and cut our life from off the face of the earth? If there be either death or evil as the first time, uproot them from near our cave, wither them, and leave us to die of heat, hunger, and thirst. For we know thy works, O Elohim, that they are great, for thy power can make rocks to become trees, and trees to become rocks." Chapter 64. Then Elohim looked upon Adam, and his strength of mind, upon his entrance of hunger and thirst, and of the heat, and changed the 2 fig trees back to 2 figs, as they were at first, and said to Adam and Eve, "Each of you may take one fig." And they took them as Elohim commanded. Elohim said, "Go ye into the cave, and eat the figs, and satisfy your hunger, lest ye die." They did as Elohim commanded. They stood up and prayed at the time of the setting sun. They sat down to eat the figs, but did not know how, for they were not accustomed to eating earthly food. They feared also lest, if they ate, their stomachs should be burdened, and their flesh thickened, and heart take to liking earthly food. While seated, Elohim out of pity sent his angel, lest they should perish of hunger and thirst. Then the angel said to Adam and Eve, "Elohim says ye have no strength to fast until death. Eat, therefore, and strengthen your bodies. For ye are now animal flesh, that cannot subsist without food and drink." Then they took the fruits, and began to eat them. Elohim had put in them a mixture of savory bread and blood. Then the angel departed, and they ate the figs until they satisfied their hunger. They put what was left down, and by Elohim's power, the figs became full as before, because Elohim blessed them. After this, Adam and Eve arose and prayed with joyful hearts and renewed strength, and praised and rejoiced abundantly the whole of that night. Chapter 65. When it was day, they rose and prayed as their custom, and went out of the cave, but felt great trouble from the food they had eaten, which they were not used to. They went about in the cave, wondering what had happened to them for eating the fruits cause of the pain they felt. Adam said to Eve, "The pain did not come to them in the garden, neither did they eat such bad food there." Then Adam besought Elohim, saying, "O Elohim, let us not perish through the food we have eaten. O Elohim, smite us not, but deal with us according to thy great mercy, and forsake us not until the day of the promise thou hast made us." Then Elohim looked upon them, and at once fitted them for eating food, as unto this day, so that they should not perish. Then Adam and Eve came back into the cave sorrowful and weeping, because of the alteration in their nature, and knew from that hour that they were altered beings, that their hope of returning to the garden was now cut off, and they could not enter it. They prayed to Elohim that he would have mercy on them, after which their mind was quieted, their hearts were broken, their longing was cooled down, and they were like strangers on earth. That night they slept heavily because of the food they had eaten. Chapter 66. When it was morning, Adam and Eve prayed in the cave, and Adam said, "We asked Elohim for food, and he gave us. Let's ask for water to drink from him." They arose and went to the bank of the stream of water, on the south border of the garden, in which they had thrown themselves. They stood at the bank and prayed to Elohim that he would command them to drink the water. The word of Elohim came to Adam and said to him, "O Adam, thy body is brutish, and requires water to drink. Take ye, and drink, thou and Eve, give thanks and praise." Adam and Eve then drew near, and drank of it, until their bodies felt refreshed. After having drunk, they praised Elohim, and then returned to the cave. They stood outside the cave, and besought Elohim to show them some food wherewith to nourish their bodies. Then the word of Elohim came unto them, "O Adam, go down to the westward of the cave, as far as a land of dark soil, and there thou shalt find food." Adam hearkened unto the word of Elohim, took Eve, and went down to the land of dark soil, and found there wheat growing, in the ear and ripe, and figs to eat. Adam rejoiced over it. Then the word of Elohim came to Adam and said, "Take of this wheat, and make bread of it, to nourish thy body withal." Then Elohim gave Adam's heart wisdom, to work out the corn until it became bread. Adam accomplished all that until he grew very faint and weary. He then returned to the cave, rejoicing at what he had learned of what is done with wheat until it is made into bread for one's use. Chapter 67. Adam and Eve went down to the land of black mud, and came to the wheat Elohim had shown them, and saw it ripe and ready for reaping, as they had no sickle to reap it. They girt themselves and began to pull up the wheat until it was all done. They made it into a heap, and faint from heat and thirst, went under a shady tree, where the breeze fanned them to sleep. But Satan saw what Adam and Eve had done, and he called his hosts and said to them, Since Elohim has shown Adam and Eve all about the wheat, to strengthen their body, lo, they came and made a heap of it, and faint from toil are now asleep. Let us set the heap on fire and burn it, and empty their bottle of water that's by them, so they may find nothing to drink, and we kill them with hunger and thirst. When they wake up and seek to return to the cave, we will lead them astray, so that they die of hunger and thirst and deny Elohim, so shall he destroy them. Then Satan and his host did as he had said, but from the heat. Adam and Eve awoke from their sleep and saw the wheat burning, and a bucket of water poured out. They wept and went back to the cave. As they were going from the mountain, Satan and his hosts met them in the form of angels, praising Elohim. And Satan said to Adam, O Adam, why art thou so pained with hunger and thirst? Seems to me Satan has burnt up the wheat. Adam said, Satan said to Adam, Come back with us. We are angels of Elohim. Elohim sent us to thee to show thee another field of corn, better than that and beyond fountain of good water, and many trees to dwell and work. Adam thought that he was true, and they were angels, and he went with them. Then Satan began to lead them astray for 8 days, until they both fell as if dead, from hunger, thirst, and faintness. Then he fled with his hosts and left them. Chapter 68. Elohim looked upon Adam, and even what Satan had done. Elohim, therefore, sent his word and raised Adam and Eve from their state of death. Adam, when raised, blamed Elohim for the destruction of their cornfield, pouring their bucket of water and sending his angels to lead them to destruction. Elohim said to Adam, I did not burn down the wheat, and did not pour out the water from the bucket, and did not send my angels to lead thee astray. But it was Satan, thy master, whom thou hast subjected thyself. But now, O Adam, thou shalt acknowledge my good deeds done to thee. Then Elohim told his angels to take Adam, and even bear them up to the fields of wheat, which they found as before, and with a bucket full of water. There they saw a tree and found on it manna, and wondered about the power of Elohim. The angel commanded them to eat the manna when they were hungry. Elohim cursed Satan not to come again and destroy the cornfield. Adam and Eve took the corn and made of it offering, took it and offered it up on the mountain, the place where they had offered up the first offering of blood. They prayed and asked for mercy. Then Elohim said to them, Since ye have made this oblation and have offered it, so shall I make my flesh when I come down upon earth to save you. And Elohim sent a bright fire upon the offering and filled it with brightness, grace, and light. And the Holy Ghost came down upon that oblation. Elohim commanded an angel to take a fire tongue, like a spoon, and offer it to Adam and Eve. And their souls were brightened, and their hearts were filled with joy and gladness, and with the praise of Elohim. They rejoiced in Elohim's words and worshipped before the altar, and went back to the cave of treasures. They stood up praying till morning, and went out of the cave. Adam said to Eve with joy of heart, Because Elohim has accepted their offering, they should do this 3 times a week, on the 4th day, on the preparation day, and on the Sabbath, all the days of their life. And as they agreed to these words, Elohim was pleased with their thoughts, and with resolution, which they had taken. The word of Elohim came to Adam, saying, O Adam, thou hast determined beforehand the days in which sufferings shall come upon me, when I am made flesh. And he explained. But Adam continued to offer this oblation thus, every week 3 times, until the end of 7 weeks. Chapter 69. Satan, envious of Adam's offering, through which found favor with Elohim, hastened and took a sharp stone from among sharp iron stones, appeared in the form of a man, and stood but Adam and Eve. Adam was offering on the altar, and had begun to pray, with his hands spread unto Elohim. Then Satan hastened with the sharp stone and pierced Adam on the side. Then flowed blood and water, and Adam fell upon the altar like a corpse. And Satan fled. Eve took Adam and placed him below the altar. She stayed there weeping, while a stream of blood flowed from Adam's side upon his offering. Elohim looked upon the death of Adam. He sent his word, and raised him up, and said, Fulfill thy offering, for indeed, Adam, it is worth much, and there is no shortcoming in it. Elohim said, Thus will it also happen to me, on the earth, when I shall be pierced, and blood and water shall flow from my side, which is the true offering, and which shall be offered on the altar as a perfect offering. Then Adam finished his offering, worshipping before Elohim, and praised him for the signs he had shown him. Then Elohim healed Adam in one day, which is the end of the 7 weeks. Adam and Eve returned to the cave, and this completed 140 days, since they left the garden. They both stood up at night and prayed to Elohim, and when it was morning, they went out, down to the westward of the cave, to the place of their corn, and rested under the shadow of a tree. But when the multitude of beasts came all around them, it was Satan's doing, in his wickedness, to wage war against Adam through marriage. Chapter 70. Satan took the form of an angel, and with 2 others, so that they looked like the 3 angels who had brought to Adam gold, incense, and myrrh. They passed before Adam and Eve, while they were under the tree, and greeted them with fair words that were full of guile. Adam and Eve saw their comely mien, and heard their sweet speech. Adam rose and welcomed them, and they remained together. Adam's heart was glad, because he thought concerning them, that they were the same angels that brought him the gifts, because when they came the first time, he felt peace and joy, through their bringing him good tokens. So Adam thought they had come the second time to give him another token for him to rejoice, not knowing that it was Satan. Then Satan said, Rejoice, O Adam, and be glad, for Elohim has sent us to thee to tell thee something. Adam said, What is it? Then Satan said, It is a light thing, yet it is a word of Elohim. Wilt thou hear and do it? Fear not, Satan said, neither let a trembling come upon thee. Dost not thou know us? Adam said, I know you not. Then Satan lied and said, I am the angel who brought thee gold, and took thee to the cave. This other one who brought you incense, and the other myrrh, when thou was on top of the mountain, and carried you to the cave. When Adam heard these words, he believed them, and said, Speak the word of Elohim, that I may receive it. And Satan said unto him, Swear, and promise me that thou wilt receive it. Then Adam said, I know not how to swear and promise. And Satan taught him how to do so. Then Satan said to him, Lo, it is now some time since out of the garden, and thou hast known no wickedness or evil, but Elohim says to thee, to take Eve who came out of thee and wed her, that she bear thee children, to comfort thee, and to drive from the trouble and sorrow. Now this thing is not difficult, either is there any scandal in it to thee. The journey of Adam and Eve in this episode tells of how Elohim's mercies endure forever. Despite the wrong, Elohim is always willing to forgive, protect, and save his children, though even when fear grips and confusion sets in, knowing that Elohim is there with you and always listening to your prayers of repentance and thanksgiving. I pray we believe in Elohim through his son Yeshua and understand that the Creator will never neglect his people. Remember, no matter the challenges we face, Satan's tricks and agendas are still the same, nothing new. And Elohim is the same, yesterday, today, and forever. Elohim holds his word dearly and keeps to what he has said. May the grace of Elohim continue to rest on you all. Amen. Thanks for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, share, and hit that bell icon so as not to miss the next episode. See you next time.